This is the story of a big businessman named Min Kyu. He has a dangerous disease. He is allergic to humans. Whenever he touches a human being, blisters appear on his body. His body turns red and he even feels difficulty in breathing. Min Kyu was fed up with his disease. He wants to live life like an ordinary human being. He also desires a friend in his life. Despite wanting to get married, he stayed alone because of his disease, locking himself in the house for 10 years. Min Kyu receives treatment at his house. One day, his doctor visits and tells Min Kyu that there's no cure for his sickness. The doctor gives him a wristwatch with different colors indicating the condition of his sickness: blue for normal, yellow for a slight attack, orange for Min Kyu's veins stopping, and red, indicating imminent death. One day, a scientist named Hong contacts Min Kyu, claiming he has made a robot along with his team that will work like a human. Min Kyu won't get an allergy attack even if he touches her. Hong informs Min Kyu that the price of this robot is $100 billion. The next day, Min Kyu goes to the lab and is shocked to see the robot. It was crafted with a pretty face. Min Kyu touches her, but nothing happens to him and he becomes ecstatic. The robot introduces herself as AG3 and Min Kyu is ready to purchase her, spending a vast sum of money. During testing, a scientist accidentally causes a soda bottle to spill on AG3, resulting in a huge short circuit damaging her processing system. The team worries because they need to deliver AG3 to Min Kyu and they've already taken payment from him. Hong devises a plan. He had designed AG3 with the face of his old friend named Jia. He persuades Jia to pose as the robot, offering her money as she was poor and needed it. The scientists' team trains Jia to mimic AG3's actions and appearance, including wearing the same clothes, hair extensions, and lenses in her eyes, functioning as a camera to spy on Jia and Min Kyu. Despite her initial hesitation, Jia was sent to Min Kyu's house after being prepared as a robot. When Min Kyu opens the coffin-like container, Jia is visibly scared. The truth is, Jia had previously delivered food to Min Kyu, but he disliked it and didn't pay her. When Jia attempted to stop him, Min Kyu fled to avoid contact due to his allergy, although he doesn't recall these events. Concerned by Jia's fear and anger, Min Kyu contacts Hong for an explanation. Hong shares that the AG3 robot has two modes, operational and friend mode. In the operational mode, she can display anger, while in friend mode, she behaves like a regular human. He mentions a button behind her neck that, when pressed, switches her modes. Min Kyu follows the instructions and tests Jia to ensure she works correctly. As the lights in Hong's lab go out, leaving Jia on her own, Min Kyu instructs her to open a box using a math code, which proves difficult for Jia due to her weakness in math. Consequently, she breaks the box open. Another task involves peeling a boiled egg in 10 seconds, which she accomplishes easily due to her experience working in a restaurant. Impressed, Min Kyu considers keeping her with him. When the lab lights are restored, they reconnect with Jia's lenses. Observing Jia yelling at Min Kyu when he touches her back to check her battery, Min Kyu accuses Hong of deception regarding the damaged battery. Hong denies this, reassuring Min Kyu that if there's an issue with the battery, he should bring her for repairs, warning about a potential short circuit if touched. Later, while Min Kyu goes to the kitchen for water, he suddenly experiences breathing difficulties. Jia rushes to him, patting his back, which helps him recover. Surprised, Min Kyu questions her actions without his order. Jia explains she possesses numerous functions enabling her to act independently. Astonishingly, when Min Kyu touches Jia, he experiences no allergic reaction, unaware that she's actually an ordinary human pretending to be a robot. That night, Hong takes Jia to the lab under the pretense of fixing her battery. He confronts her about potentially jeopardizing their plan if Min Kyu discovers the truth. Furious and feeling she failed, Jia leaves. Meanwhile, Hong learns that the real AG3 is undergoing repairs in Africa for 2 more weeks. Simultaneously, Min Kyu contacts Hong, expressing his desire to keep the robot, AG3, for an additional month. Hong, grappling with the predicament, calls Jia back and implores her to continue pretending as the robot in front of Min Kyu. He offers her a substantial sum and plans to take her back to the lab nightly under the guise of recharging her. Encouraged by the offer, Jia agrees to continue the charade. During one instance, while cleaning the washroom using Min Kyu's expensive perfumes, Min Kyu notices Jia and questions her actions, highlighting that robots cannot be exposed to water. Jia responds in character, stating she's an advanced robot capable of handling any task. However, Min Kyu observes sweat on her face when he turns back, indicating something amiss. Another incident occurs when Jia accidentally ruins a card house painstakingly built by Min Kyu over 10 years. Enraged, Min Kyu confronts her, and Jia feigns a low battery, pretending to shut off. Frustrated by Jia's mistakes, Min Kyu contacts Hong, expressing his grievances. Hong assures Min Kyu of fixing the problem. On another occasion, Min Kyu's special guest, a girl he admires, unknowingly triggers an allergic reaction by touching him. As Min Kyu collapses due to the allergic attack, Jia comes to his aid, saving him from unconsciousness. The narrative then shifts to a time before Min Kyu's illness. A younger Min Kyu cherishes moments of happiness, such as building his first house of cards and celebrating birthdays. However, tragedy strikes when his parents die in a car accident, leading to a power struggle for guardianship over Min Kyu due to his family's wealth. Amidst this, Min Kyu receives a mysterious notice from Madame X advising him not to sign any papers. Later, a friend persuades him to sign adoption papers, promising to become his brother. However, Min Kyu becomes alarmed when he sees his friend's hand transform into a grotesque form, prompting him to flee. After regaining consciousness, Min Kyu's friend returns to his father and presents the papers only to discover that Min Kyu hadn't actually signed them. This incident further fuels Min Kyu's distrust of people, leading him to live alone, keeping his allergy to humans a secret except from his specialized doctor. The story then shifts back to the present, where Min Kyu begins to recover. Finding Jia beside him, Min Kyu recounts a dream where everyone appeared as his enemy, expressing his surprise at feeling better. Spending more time with Jia, he eventually decides to meet the girl he admires. However, when she inadvertently triggers his allergy by shaking hands, Min Kyu decides to discard his injection into the water. Coincidentally, Jia arrives, and miraculously, Min Kyu's allergy subsides without the need for an injection. Their clock's temperature indicator returns to normal with a blue color. Astonished by his newfound health, Min Kyu decides to test his condition in a crowd, intentionally colliding with people without experiencing any allergic reactions. He contacts his doctor to share the incredible change, noting that seeing Jia from a distance seems to cure his ailment. Overwhelmed by this revelation, Min Kyu expresses his desire to buy the biggest battery for Jia, promising her a permanent place by his side. Despite keeping Jia close at all times, Min Kyu still perceives her solely as a robot. Meanwhile, at the lab, the actual AG-3 robot has been repaired but requires some additional time to function properly. Discovering this, Jia feels despondent as she has grown accustomed to living with Min Kyu. During an outing to a hotel where the girl Min Kyu likes is present with her father, Min Kyu seats Jia at a separate table, causing Jia to feel hurt and refuse to engage with Min Kyu upon his return. The story continues to build on Min Kyu's newfound health and his evolving relationship with Jia, emphasizing the emotional complexities arising from Jia's dual existence as both a robot and a human imposter. As Min Kyu recovers, he discovers that he remains unaffected by his allergy as long as Jia is around. However, his doctor advises him to send the robot, referring to Jia, back and move away to let go of the attachment. Heartbroken, Min Kyu confides in Hong about his feelings for Jia, who suggests erasing Jia's memories to help her move on and advises Min Kyu to relocate. In their final moments together, amidst a snowy landscape, Min Kyu thanks Jia for making him well and bids her farewell. He gives her his mother's locket, embraces her, and tearfully presses the reset button, wiping her memories. Simultaneously, the AG-3 robot senses the deletion of Min Kyu's folder and mourns their separation. Jia's emotional distress leads to her falling ill. The next morning, Jia embarks on a new life, departing to live with her grandmother. Coincidentally, Min Kyu spots her on the same train and recognizes a resemblance to AG-3. Despite sitting across from each other, they refrain from talking as Jia is prohibited from engaging with Min Kyu. However, Min Kyu contacts Hong, seeking to communicate with the person whose face was used for AG-3. Hong declines, but Min Kyu's suspicion prompts him to follow Jia and discover her working at her grandmother's hotel. Despite Jia's reluctance, she confesses that her face was used for AG-3 and in exchange, she received a substantial amount. Min Kyu insists on staying close to her, becoming friends with her grandmother and reliving moments he thought were with AG-3. One day, Min Kyu finds Jia gone from the hotel. He searches frantically and discovers her by the seashore, recognizing the locket he gifted to AG-3. Realizing he's been deceived, his allergy intensifies, reaching a critical level, and he collapses, his chances of survival slim. The doctor and Hong arrive in time to administer treatment and take him home. Despite Jia's desire to explain everything, the doctor prevents her from meeting Min Kyu. A special assistant of Min Kyu suggests filing a case against Jia and Hong's company for cheating. However, it's revealed that the assistant is Jia's brother, who left Min Kyu's employment due to Jia's actions. Meanwhile, Jia continues to cook and deliver food to Min Kyu, who rejects it daily, expressing anger towards her. Despite this, Jia persists, prompting Min Kyu's servant to remark on the inevitability of lies in human interaction. As tensions rise, Min Kyu confronts Jia angrily, leading to an accident that injures her hand. Jia's friend attempts to reason with Min Kyu, urging him to let go of his ego and reach out to Jia before she leaves for Australia with Hong's team. Feeling conflicted, Min Kyu observes the stars, recalling memories of his love for Jia. Meanwhile, the AG-3 robot resumes functioning, and Min Kyu realizes he cannot live without Jia. He goes to meet Jia on a rock, and Jia confesses that she acted as a robot. Min Kyu feels a deep longing for the moments spent with Jia. He demands the truth, asking how many more lies she's told. He regrets being unable to differentiate between a human and a robot. Jia admits to enjoying her time with him and confesses that she remembered everything but stayed silent to prevent his allergy from returning. Min Kyu attempts to move closer but remembers his allergy, concluding that their paths must diverge. Jia pleads for him to stay, declaring her deep love for him. Min Kyu, torn, hugs Jia while many stars burst in the sky. The next day, they embark on a long drive. Min Kyu notices his allergy subsides when he sees Jia sleeping in the car. After dropping her home, he asks to meet her again soon. Returning home, he contacts his doctor, who reveals there's no cure for his illness. It can fluctuate unexpectedly. Meanwhile, a wealthy man named Martin acquires AG-3 from Hong, intending to weaponize her. However, when Martin opens the coffin-shaped container, AG-3 isn't inside. AG-3 wanders the city, lacking memories of herself. Min Kyu returns home to find Jia and Hong's team in his kitchen. Jia informs him of her departure, making Min Kyu sad. He makes excuses for them to stay due to the weather. AG-3 discovers saved videos, including Martin's intentions to weaponize her and Hong's team advocating for her friendship with humans. AG-3 deletes Martin's video, choosing to embrace friendship with humans. Later, Min Kyu meets Madame X, who advises catching Martin, revealing a witness against him. Min Kyu persuades the frightened witness to provide evidence against Martin to the police. Meanwhile, Jia takes Min Kyu to where a deal for AG-3 was to happen, only to discover AG-3 missing. Martin's associates locate AG-3, claiming to be her relatives, and take her. However, the police apprehend Martin and his cohorts, rescuing AG-3. Joyful reunions occur, and AG-3's face is changed to prevent further misuse. Min Kyu discloses his allergy and expresses gratitude to Jia and Hong's team publicly, boosting his company's market shares. He plans to invest heavily in a robot. Jia persuades her brother not to resign from Min Kyu's company. Eventually, Hong prepares to launch a new AI robot. Time passes and Jia's brother becomes a manager in Min Kyu's company. Jia showcases her company's products and plans to meet Min Kyu. Min Kyu, now a soldier, catches Jia as she slips. Their lives have progressed positively, with Min Kyu's illness cured. They head to Min Kyu's house, where everyone eagerly awaits them, marking the end of the series. The story's conclusion wraps up the various characters' arcs, showcasing personal growth and positive changes in their lives.